Rowan freezes in the doorway, her small hands trembling as she holds the open notebook toward her father. Silas stands inches from her, breath sharp, eyes locked on the page she shouldn't be reading. Outside the office window, the late evening skyline glows, but inside the room, the air is tight like it's awaiting a storm. Silas steps closer, voice low, shaking in a way Rowan has never heard from him. "Where did you get that?" His fingers hover near the notebook, not touching it, as if it might burn him. Rowan swallows hard. She didn't mean to find anything. She only wanted her sketchbook. She only opened one drawer. But the moment she turned the first page, her pulse jumped. Names, marks. Strange drawings, numbers lined like someone tracking danger. She doesn't understand it all, but she knows enough to sense this isn't normal. Her heart thumps loud in her ears. Silas leans forward, face inches from hers now, voice almost breaking. "Rowan, answer me." His suit jacket is still on, his tie loosened from a long day, but nothing about him feels familiar anymore. He looks like a man cornered, scared, and seeing her father scared frightens her more than anything written in the notebook. She tightens her grip on the notebook, trying not to step back. I was just looking for my sketchbook." Her voice shakes, thin and small. "I didn't mean to open it." She feels the floor shift under her. She doesn't know what she walked into, but she knows she can't walk back out unchanged. Before Silas can respond, Rowan's voice trembles again. "Dad, why are these names crossed out? Why are there maps of alleys? And why—" His hand shoots out gently but firm, taking the notebook. "Rowan, stop." His jaw clenches, his eyelids heavy. "There are things you don't understand." His voice is so tight it almost cracks, and Rowan's stomach turns because she senses this moment will change their lives forever. If you're watching this, let me know right now. What would you do if you found something like this in your parents' desk? And hey, before we go further, don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss what happens next. Silas breathes deep, steadying himself. "You weren't supposed to see this," he whispers. "You weren't supposed to ever see any of it." He rubs his forehead, pacing, eyes darting to the window like he expects someone out there to be watching. Rowan clutches her sleeve, confused and scared. He stops pacing, turns slowly, and meets her eyes with a look she has never seen on him, a look that carries years of weight. "Rowan, you deserve the truth, but once you hear it, nothing will be the same." A honk echoes from outside. Rowan jumps. Silas stiffens. A black SUV sits across the street, its engine running, headlights fixed on their house. Silas whispers, "They found us." What do you think Rowan saw in that notebook that shook her father this much? The SUV's headlights cut through the blinds like twin blades as Silas grabs Rowan's wrist and pulls her into the hallway. His steps are quick, sharp, controlled, the way someone moves when they've trained themselves never to waste a second. Rowan struggles to keep up, nearly tripping as he shuts off lights and locks doors like he's rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. "Dad, what's happening?" she begs, voice tight, breath shallow. He doesn't answer. He only peeks through the living room curtain, jaw clenched, shoulders tense. The SUV's engine revs softly as if whoever is inside is waiting for something, maybe for them. Silas drops the curtain and exhales through his nose, steadying himself. "Rowan, listen to me carefully." His voice is controlled but strained. "Someone dangerous is here." She clutches her hands to her chest. "Because of the notebook?" His silence answers for him. He kneels in front of her, placing both hands gently on her shoulders. His eyes soften just enough for her to see the father she knows. "Nothing will happen to you. Do you hear me? Nothing." His promise sounds like a vow carved from pain. A loud tap hits the window. Rowan jumps. Silas pulls her back, shielding her with his body. Footsteps scrape against the gravel outside. Slow, intentional, taunting. Rowan whispers, "Who is that?" Silas shakes his head. "Someone who wants to remind me that walking away wasn't free." He pulls her toward the kitchen, where the back door leads to the alley. "We're leaving, now." But when he opens the door, Rowan sees another figure leaning against the fence. The man's silhouette is tall, shoulders broad, posture relaxed like he's enjoying the moment. Silas curses under his breath, a word Rowan has only heard once before. He shuts the door and locks it again. They're boxed in. Dad, Rowan's voice cracks. Why are they here? Silas presses a hand to his forehead. Because of who I used to be. He stands still for a long moment, breathing, thinking, calculating. Then he turns to her with a look she can't read. Rowan, I need you to trust me more than ever. A knock echoes through the house, slow, steady, confident. A voice outside calls, "Ghost line, open up!" What would you do if a stranger knew a name your parent never told you? Silas freezes the moment he hears that name, Ghost line, like a man hearing the sound of a past he never wanted to remember. Rowan studies his face, watching the color drain, watching a strength she always trusted flicker. That name hits him like a hit to the gut. She doesn't understand why, not yet, but the fear she sees in his eyes tells her everything she needs to know. Whoever is outside is not here by accident. The knock comes again, harder this time. The walls seem to vibrate with it. Rowan inches closer to her father, fingers bunching in his sleeve. "Dad, who is that?" she whispers. Silas doesn't answer. He's staring at the door like it's a doorway to a nightmare. He pulls Rowan back into the hallway, moving quickly but quietly. "Stay behind me." His voice is low but steady now, like something old is awakening in him. She watches him breathe in, long and slow, and something about the way he stands changes. His shoulders shift, his jaw sets. He looks taller somehow, ready. The knock turns into a loud pound, followed by the scrape of shoes across their porch. Whoever is out there isn't leaving. Silas leads Rowan into the dining room and pushes the table slightly aside, revealing a narrow sliding panel built into the wall. Rowan's eyes widen. She's lived here her whole life, and she never knew this space existed. Silas notices her expression and says quietly, "I hoped we'd never need it." He motions her inside. "Don't speak, don't move, not until I say." His voice carries a tone she has never heard, calm but heavy, like he is bracing himself for something he hoped he had escaped forever. Rowan starts to panic. "Dad, please, just tell me what's going on." Silas cups her cheek gently. "I will, but right now, I need you safe." He kisses her forehead, something he rarely does, and slides the panel closed. Inside the hidden space, Rowan crouches low, hands shaking. She presses her ear to the thin wall. She hears footsteps, more than one set, heavy, confident, men who walk like they know they're in control. Silas's voice comes from the other side of the door, steady, controlled. "I told you I don't do that anymore." A deep voice replies, smooth like someone used to charming their way through threats. "Yeah, Silas, that's the problem. You just left, no permission, no farewell." Another voice laughs quietly. "Just walked away like none of us mattered." Silas responds sharply, "I had reasons." "And now your reasons are back in play," the first voice says. "The boss wants to talk." Rowan's heart slams against her ribs, and she clamps a hand over her mouth. Silas exhales slowly. "I don't owe your boss anything." A beat of silence. Then the man says, "Every debt comes due, Ghost line." The wooden floor creaks. She imagines the men stepping closer to her father. She imagines his back against the wall, standing alone against them. She wants to run out, scream at them to leave him alone, but fear roots her in place. Silas's voice sharpens. "My name is Silas now." The man chuckles. "You think changing your name changes who you are?" The sound of something heavy hitting the table makes Rowan jolt. One of them slammed something, maybe a gun, maybe a folder. She can't see. She can only imagine. The voice lowers. "You walked away. You took everything with you. Now your old life wants you back." Silas stays silent for a long moment. Rowan can hear him breathing. Then he says the words that freeze her blood. "I'm not going back. I'd rather die." The man replies calmly, "Don't worry, that's one of the options." Rowan's stomach twists. She knows her father isn't a violent man, at least not the man she knows. But these men talk like they expect him to fight, like they've seen him fight, like they're prepared for whatever he might do. Then another man's voice cuts in. "Where's the kid?" Silas reacts instantly. His voice snaps like a whip. "She's not part of this." The first man laughs softly. "Funny thing, the boss says everything is part of this now." Rowan covers her mouth again, tears pooling in her eyes. They know about her. They know she exists. And suddenly the notebook with the crossed-out names feels different, heavy, dangerous, real. Silas's voice drops low, shaking in a way that terrifies her. "If you touch her," the man interrupts. "Relax, we're not here for her." Yet. The word hits Rowan like ice. The men shuffle, moving toward the door. One of them mutters, "Boss wants him by tomorrow." The leader pauses. "Ghost line, midnight, don't make us come back." The front door opens, the cold night air sweeping in. Then it shuts. Silence. Rowan waits. She counts her breaths. 10 seconds, 20, 30. Then the panel slides open. Silas stands there, hand trembling on the edge of the door. He looks older in that moment, tired, crushed, afraid. But when he looks at Rowan, something in his expression shifts. Resolve. She climbs out, legs weak. "Dad?" "Who were they?" Silas leans against the wall, rubbing his temples. "People I hoped you'd never meet." "Why did they call you that name?" He closes his eyes. "Because once, before you were born, I was someone else." Rowan feels her throat tighten. "Who?" He opens his eyes slowly, the weight of his past sitting heavy behind them. "Someone you wouldn't recognize." Before she can ask more, headlights flash through the window, another car pulling up. Silas whispers, "They're back, but this time they're not alone." Should Silas run with Rowan or face the people who came for him? Silas yanks Rowan away from the window as 2 car doors slam shut outside. He moves quickly, guiding her toward the kitchen. His movements are sharp but careful, like he's done this before, like muscle memory from a life he never wanted her to know. Rowan's mind is spinning. She can't tell if she's more scared of the men outside or the father standing in front of her, the father who suddenly moves like a man preparing for a fight. "Dad, what do we do?" she whispers. Silas doesn't answer immediately. He's checking the back door again, checking corners, scanning shadows with the precision of someone who learned danger the hard way. Finally, he says, "Stay behind me. No matter what happens, you don't run unless I tell you." His voice is steady, but lined with fear. She can hear it even if he tries to hide it. The doorbell rings, long, slow, like whoever is outside has all the time in the world. Silas stiffens. They won't stop. His hand shakes slightly as he reaches for the drawer where he keeps tools. But instead of grabbing anything, he closes the drawer again and exhales. "I'm not going back to that life." Rowan watches him, her chest tight. He looks torn, like he's being pulled in 2 directions. The father who wants peace and the man these strangers refuse to let go. A second ring echoes through the house, followed by a voice. "Silas, open up. We need to talk." This voice is different, calm, smooth, almost friendly. Silas's shoulders tense again. He knows the voice. He whispers to Rowan, "Stay behind me. Don't move." Then he walks toward the door. Rowan edges close enough to see, but far enough to hide if needed. Her heart beats like a drum. Silas unlocks the deadbolt but doesn't open the door fully, just enough to see who stands on the porch. A man with deep brown skin, shaved head, a trimmed beard, and a suit that looks expensive without trying, stands there. He smiles faintly, hands visible, empty. "Evening, Silas." Silas stares at him with a mix of anger and something Rowan can't name. "Tariq. Not tonight." Tariq tilts his head. "I wouldn't be here if it wasn't important." Silas steps outside, closing the door behind him, but not all the way. Rowan presses her ear to the crack. Tariq's voice lowers. "Boss said midnight. You know how he gets when he doesn't hear yes." Silas answers sharply. "I said I'm not coming back." "You say that like it's a choice," Tariq replies. "He thinks you owe him." "I don't owe him a thing." Tariq exhales. "You left. You didn't ask. You took information with you." Silas snaps. "I took my daughter and tried to give her a normal life." There's a pause, a long one. Tariq's voice softens slightly. "Silas, I'm not here to threaten you. I'm here to warn you. If you don't show up, he'll come for you. And he'll look for anything that makes you weak." Rowan's hands go cold. Silas speaks through clenched teeth. "She's off limits." Tariq hesitates. He doesn't see lines anymore. Rowan's breath catches. She wants to run outside and grab her father, drag him back in, but she stays hidden like he told her. Silas whispers a curse under his breath. Then he asks, "Why are you warning me?" Another pause. Then Tariq says quietly, "Because you once saved my brother's life. I don't forget debts." Silas steps back, stunned. "Tariq?" But Tariq lifts a hand. "I can only hold them off for so long." His voice tightens. "Midnight. After that, it won't be me knocking." He walks away. Silas watches him leave, looking like a man being pushed toward a cliff. Rowan pulls back from the door just as Silas re-enters. His eyes widen when he sees her. "I told you to stay hidden." She steps closer anyway. "Dad, they're doing this because of you, because of your past?" Silas looks away. "I tried to leave all this behind." "Then why won't they let you?" "Because I was valuable to them," he says quietly. "Too valuable." Rowan swallows. "What did you do? Who were you?" Silas sits at the table, rubbing his face. "I planned things for them. Big things. I was smart. Too smart. And men like the boss don't let useful people go." Rowan feels a strange mix of fear and sadness. She sees the pain in his eyes. She sees the regret. She sees a man who tried to change and is being punished for it. "Dad, what happens at midnight?" Silas looks her in the eyes. "Either I go or they come back. And when they come back, they won't be talking." A car engine approaches in the distance. Silas's head snaps toward the sound. Rowan whispers, "Dad, is that them?" If you were Rowan, would you push your father to run or make him face the danger? The sound of the approaching engine grows louder, rolling down the quiet street like a warning. Silas moves fast, grabbing Rowan's backpack from the hallway. "Get your shoes," he says. "Now." There's a firmness in his voice that leaves no room for argument. Rowan rushes to the door, fumbling as she slips on her sneakers. Her hands shake too much to tie the laces. Silas kneels, tying them for her, with hands that move quickly despite trembling. Another engine hums outside. Not one car, two. "Dad, are we running?" she whispers. Silas looks her in the eyes. "I don't have a choice anymore." He opens the basement door. Rowan hadn't been down there since last winter. The cold, the dust, the clutter. But now Silas pulls a cord, revealing a set of old utility stairs behind a wooden panel. Rowan's breath halts. "What is that?" "Something I hoped we'd never need," he says again, guiding her inside. The staircase leads to an underground path, narrow, dim, smelling of damp earth and old concrete. Rowan steps carefully as Silas shuts the panel behind them. Darkness wraps around them until Silas clicks on a small flashlight. "Dad, where does this go?" "A block over," he answers. "To an old storm drain. It's safe." His steps echo against the concrete walls, the beam of light bouncing ahead of them. Rowan stays close enough to feel his coat brush her arm. She has 1,000 questions but pushes them down. She knows he's fighting to keep her alive. That's enough right now. Halfway through the tunnel, Silas stops. Rowan bumps into him gently. "What is it?" He listens. Rowan listens too. Footsteps, above them, heavy, moving fast. She bites her lip. "Did they find us?" Silas presses a finger to his lips. Quiet. The footsteps fade. Silas exhales shakily and continues forward, gripping the flashlight tighter. When they reach the end of the tunnel, he pushes open a metal grate, and cool night air sweeps in. They crawl out behind a row of old brick garages. Silas checks the street, empty. "Come on," he whispers. They move quickly through backyards until they reach a small public park. Rowan recognizes the area. It's where Silas sometimes brings her after school to talk about her drawings. He stops by the swings, dropping to one knee to catch his breath. "We're safe for now." "Dad, who is the boss?" she asks quietly. "Why is he after you?" Silas rubs his forehead. "His name is Luciano Vargo. Years ago, he took over the organization I worked for. I helped him build everything, territories, plans, operations. But when you were born," he pauses, voice tight, "I wanted out. He refused." "So you ran?" Rowan asks. "I did what I had to do." Rowan studies him. "But why now, after all these years?" Silas meets her gaze. "Because someone told him I'm still alive. A branch snaps nearby. Silas jumps to his feet, grabbing Rowan's hand. They duck behind a picnic table as two figures enter the park. Rowan's heart races. She recognizes one of them, the man from earlier leaning on the fence. The other is taller, wearing a long coat and gloves. They're searching. Silas pulls Rowan close. Don't move. The men walk slowly across the park, scanning the shadows. One of them mutters, "Boss wants the girl found. He doesn't care how." Rowan covers her mouth, tears forming. Silas's hand tightens around hers. She feels his heartbeat hammering. He is scared. He is furious. He is calculating. The taller man speaks. "If we find Ghostline before midnight, we bring him in alive. If midnight passes..." The first man nods. "Then he's done." Rowan trembles. Midnight. That's the deadline. The men walk closer. Silas pushes Rowan lower, shielding her with his body. The beam of a small flashlight passes inches from their hiding spot. Then one of the men stops. "Check the south side," he says. They turn away. When they're far enough, Silas pulls Rowan to her feet. "We can't stay here." "Where are we going?" "Somewhere they won't expect." They move through the trees toward the far side of the park. Silas's phone buzzes. Rowan sees the name on the screen. Tariq. Silas answers quietly. "What?" Tariq's voice is urgent. "They're checking every house in your neighborhood. Vargo thinks you're running. You need to hide." "I already am," Silas replies. "Not good enough? He wants the girl, Silas. He thinks she's your weakness." Silas's jaw tightens. "She's my daughter." "That's exactly why he's using her." Tariq pauses. "There's one place they won't look, but you're not going to like it." Silas's breathing slows. Rowan can tell he already knows what Tariq is about to say. "Come to the warehouse," Tariq whispers. "The old one, on Riverway. I can get you inside." Silas whispers back, "That place is a trap." Tariq answers, "Everywhere is a trap tonight." Silas hangs up. Rowan looks at him. "Dad, what did he say?" Silas turns toward the dark road ahead. "We have to go somewhere dangerous, to stay safe." She swallows. "Where?" He lifts his backpack, eyes dark with worry. "A place I never wanted to see again." Rowan whispers, "Dad, what's inside that warehouse? Would you trust Tariq's help, or would you run the opposite direction?" Silas grabs Rowan's arm the second he hears the metal clang echo behind them. He pulls her deeper into the shadows of the abandoned lot, eyes darting between the broken streetlight and the dark edges of the fence line. Rowan can feel how fast his heart is pounding. He is not hiding it anymore. He can't. Someone is coming, someone who knows exactly where they are. "Down," he whispers, pushing her behind a stack of old crates. She crouches low, knees scraping against broken concrete. Her breath trembles in her chest. Footsteps crunch through the gravel, slow, heavy, moving straight toward the tunnel exit they had just crawled out of minutes earlier. Silas positions himself in front of her, body angled, ready to shield her from whatever breaks through the dark. Rowan clutches the back of his coat. She can feel him breathing hard, but not from running. From panic. A voice calls out, rough and annoyed. "I know you're out here, Ghostline." Rowan's stomach tightens. She recognizes the voice. The taller man from the park. The one with the coat. The one who spoke about midnight like he was counting down to something certain. Silas doesn't answer. He stays still, waiting for a mistake he can use. The man steps into the faint light, looking around the lot with a tilted head. "You can run all night, Silas, but you know this ends one way. You show up, or the boss decides he's done talking." Rowan watches her father's hands fist at his sides. She has never seen him this tense, not even when bills piled up. Not even when her mother left. This is different. This is fear that turns into something sharp. Another voice joins him, a second man. Rowan recognizes him too, the one who leaned on the backyard fence earlier. He stops a few feet behind the tall man and adjusts his jacket like he's waiting for orders. Silas stays silent, hiding behind the crates, keeping Rowan close. The tall man sighs. "All right, not here. Check the rest of the block." The other man nods. "What if he already left the area?" "He didn't," the tall man replies. "People like him don't run far. They circle. They hide. They wait." Their footsteps fade as they walk toward the alley. Silas finally exhales. Rowan feels his back loosen slightly, but only for a moment. He isn't relieved. He's thinking, planning. She can see it in the tight way he blinks. "Dad, what do we do now?" she whispers. Silas turns, his face lined with stress, sweat along his hairline. "We can't keep running like this. They'll track us no matter where we go." Rowan bites her lip. "Then what do we do?" He looks toward the street, jaw tight. "I don't have an answer yet, but I swear I won't let them touch you." He takes her hand, leading her toward a darker side path behind the garages. Every few steps, he checks over his shoulder. Rowan keeps quiet, but her mind rushes. After several minutes, they reach a small alley behind an old auto shop. Silas leans against the wall, breathing hard. Rowan watches him wipe his forehead with the back of his hand, eyes distant. "Dad, talk to me," she says softly. "Please." He swallows hard. "Rowan, I didn't want you in this. I didn't want any of this to come back." She steps closer. "I know. But it's happening, and I need to understand." Silas looks down at her. His eyes are tired, but full of love she has always recognized. "I made choices years ago that I thought were behind me. I built things for people who used fear to control everything around them. They counted on me. They trusted me. And when I walked away, they saw it as betrayal." Rowan nods slowly. "And now they want you back? They want what I know." He looks away. "And they're willing to hurt anyone to get it." A long silence hangs between them. Rowan feels tears sting her eyes. "You're not that person anymore." "No," Silas whispers, "but they don't care." He pushes off the wall, straightening. "We need to move. This spot isn't safe long." They start down the alley, sticking to shadows. The air smells like old oil and rust. A siren echoes in the distance. Rowan's fingers curl around Silas's sleeve. A sudden sound breaks the air, a metal door slamming open. Silas pulls Rowan back just in time, as a flashlight beam sweeps across the alley from the next block. Voices shout orders. Someone is moving fast. "Over here! Check between the shops!" Silas grabs Rowan's hand and runs. Her feet slap the pavement, breath sharp in the cold air. They cut through a narrow passage between dumpsters and jump a low chain fence. Rowan nearly slips, but Silas lifts her over, pushing her forward. They land in a small yard behind a locked storage building. Silas checks the windows, sealed. He checks the gate, bolted. He curses under his breath. Voices grow closer. Rowan shakes. "Dad, they're surrounding us." Silas kneels to her level, gripping her shoulders. "Look at me. Stay behind me no matter what happens. If I say run, you run. Understand?" Rowan nods, tears sliding silently down her face. Silas stands tall, positioning himself between her and the direction of the voices. She watches his posture shift, the calm father fading into someone sharper, someone dangerous, someone she has never seen but knows lived inside him once. He braces himself. A shadow appears on the fence. Another joins it. Then a third. Rowan holds her breath. The gate latch begins to rattle. Silas steps forward, ready to fight. The gate snaps open, revealing a face Silas never expected to see again. If you were Rowan in this moment, hiding behind your father while strangers hunt you down, what would you do next? Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss powerful stories like this. Your thoughts in the comments might help someone going through their own struggle. Silas freezes the moment the gate swings open, his breath catching as the dim yard light reveals the man stepping through. Rowan grips the back of his coat, her fingers digging in. The man raises both hands slowly, showing he's empty. It's Tariq. "Silas," he says quietly, "you need to move, now." Silas's jaw tightens. He doesn't lower his guard. He doesn't trust easily. Not tonight. Rowan peers from behind him, heart pounding hard enough to shake her small frame. Tariq glances over his shoulder. "You have 30 seconds before those other guys circle back." They're checking every yard. Rowan watches Silas hesitate for the first time. He wants to protect her, but he also doesn't have many choices left. His eyes meet Tariq's, studying him like he's trying to read intentions that could change their lives. "Where's your crew?" Silas asks. "Half a block up," Tariq replies. "I told them I heard something on the west side. Bought you a minute." Silas doesn't move yet. Why help me? Tariq shakes his head. Because if Vargo gets his hands on you tonight, nobody survives what comes next. And because you saved my brother once, I don't forget that. The sound of voices echoes down the alley, closer now. Rowan feels the vibration in the ground. Heavy boots, more than two. Silas makes his decision in an instant. Fine, lead. Tariq doesn't waste a second. He motions them through the gate and down a narrow path between two garages, keeping his pace quick but quiet. Rowan stays close to her father, trying to match his steps even though her legs shake. They reach the far side of the garages just as flashlights sweep across the area they had just escaped. Keep moving, Tariq whispers. Silas puts a steady hand on Rowan's back, guiding her forward. The night is cold, and the wind pushes against them as they cross a patch of uneven pavement behind the old warehouse district. Rowan sees boarded-up windows, peeling paint, rusted signs, like the whole block is holding its breath. Where are you taking us? Silas asks. Somewhere they won't check, Tariq says, because they think you hate it too much to ever go near it again. Silas seems to understand immediately. His shoulders stiffen. You better be telling the truth. Rowan looks between them, confused but trusting them both because she has no choice. They reach a tall chain-link fence with a loose corner, cut out just enough for a crawl-through. Tariq crouches first, slipping under. Silas helps Rowan down, then follows, pulling the flap closed behind him. The property on the other side is larger than Rowan expected. An old warehouse yard with weeds stretching through cracks in the ground and a long metal building that looks abandoned. The wind whistles through broken panels on the roof. Tariq jogs toward the building and pushes on a side door. It opens with a loud metal groan. Hurry, he says. Silas ushers Rowan inside. The moment they enter, Rowan takes in the vast emptiness. High ceilings, scattered crates, old machinery covered in dust. The space smells like rust and cold metal. Tariq closes the door behind them and secures it with a long pipe shoved through the handle. This should buy us some time. Rowan looks around the dark interior. What is this place? Tariq answers before Silas can. This used to be one of Ghostline's planning hubs. Rowan turns slowly toward her father. Silas doesn't deny it. He walks a few steps forward, looking at the floor like memories are buried just under the surface. This is where you worked? She whispers. Silas nods once stiffly. I stopped coming the day you were born. Tariq steps closer. Silas, the boss thinks you left because you were scared, but I know better. You left because you had something worth leaving for. Rowan watches her father's face soften at that. Only for a second. Tariq continues. Look, Vargo's losing his patience. Half the crew thinks you're running to another city. The other half thinks you're trying to take him down. He's unpredictable right now. Silas turns sharply. And what do you think? Tariq meets his eyes. I think you're trying to protect your kid, and I respect that. So, I'm giving you a chance to survive the night. Rowan hears the thud of a car door somewhere outside. Silas hears it too. He moves quickly to a window and peeks through a cracked panel. A black sedan rolls past the gate. Rowan's heart drops. Dad, they're here? Silas backs away from the window, breathing harder. Not yet, but they're close. Tariq walks to the center of the warehouse, pulling out his phone. I can stall them for maybe 40 minutes. After that, they'll flood this place. Silas steps closer. You can't stall them alone. I can stall better without someone they want standing next to me, Tariq replies. Another car passes outside. Silas turns to Rowan, placing both hands gently on her arms. You stay right behind me. Don't wander, understand? Rowan nods. Suddenly, a loud bang shakes the front of the warehouse. Something slams against the big metal door. Rowan jumps back. Silas shields her with his body. Tariq curses under his breath. They're checking buildings now. A second bang follows, and then a voice. Open it up! Silas's pulse races. He looks around the warehouse, eyes scanning for exits, weak spots, anything. Rowan, he whispers, whatever happens, don't let go of me. The metal door groans under the force of another slam. A deep voice outside shouts, Break it down! He's in there with the kid! If you were hiding inside that warehouse, hearing strangers shout for your family, what would you hope Silas does next? Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. There's more to this story, and your comment might help someone who needs strength today. The warehouse door shudders so hard the hinges scream, sending dust drifting from the ceiling. Silas grabs Rowan's hand and pulls her behind a stack of crates just as another blow rattles the metal. The echoes bounce through the vast space, sharp and cold. Rowan's breathing turns uneven, her fingers gripping Silas's jacket like she's afraid he might vanish. "Tariq!" Silas whispers urgently. "Where's the back exit?" Tariq sprints across the concrete floor toward an old storage room. "Forgotten side door, but it's jammed. I'll break it open. Buy me a minute." Another bang slams against the front. The metal bends inward. Someone outside grunts with effort. Someone else laughs, low and rough. Rowan's stomach flips. Silas pulls Rowan closer behind the crates, shielding her. "Stay down," he murmurs. Footsteps scrape outside. Then a man shouts, "Move aside! I've got it!" A heavy crash shakes the walls. The front door dents even deeper. Rowan's voice trembles. "Dad, how many are out there?" Silas doesn't answer. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he doesn't know. And that fear shows in his eyes. Still, he squeezes her hand and whispers, "I'm here. I won't let anything happen to you." Another crash, louder this time. They don't have long. "Tariq," Silas calls again. "Working on it," Tariq grunts from the storage room. The sound of metal clanking fills the air as he shoves against the rusted back door. Rowan peeks around the crate. The warehouse looks bigger now, emptier, like the shadows are pulling them in. Silas gently pushes her back into cover. The metal door at the front bends one final time and snaps off its bottom hinge. A man's boot wedges into the gap. Silas reacts instantly. He pulls Rowan behind a forklift and crouches low, keeping her pressed against his side. 4 voices argue outside. "Kick harder! He's cornered! And the kid too! Boss wants both!" Silas presses a hand over Rowan's mouth when she gasps. She feels his heartbeat hammering through his chest. She hears the anger in his breath. He is done running, but he is outnumbered. The door bursts inward. A tall man steps inside first, flashlight sweeping across the floor. Rowan recognizes the coat, the same man from the park. Her chest tightens. Behind him, 2 more men enter, spreading out, checking corners with quick movements. A 4th waits outside, watching the lot. Silas whispers in Rowan's ear, "Stay quiet, stay low." The beam of a flashlight creeps closer to their hiding spot. Silas lowers himself further, pulling Rowan's head against his chest so she won't panic. She can hear the thudding in his ribs. "Check the crates," the tall man commands. He hides smart. Rowan grips Silas's sleeve, tears welling. Silas holds her close with one arm, steadying her shaking body. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes from the back of the warehouse. Tariq forcing the exit door again. Every head snaps toward the sound. "What was that?" "Back room, go!" 2 men rush toward the noise. Tariq shouts from the back, "Silas, now!" Silas doesn't hesitate. He lifts Rowan into his arms and sprints across the warehouse toward the back room. The tall man sees movement and yells, "There!" Flashlights dart toward them. "Go!" Silas shouts to Tariq as he barrels into the room. Tariq slams his shoulder into the rusted door again. It cracks, dust flying. "They're right behind us!" Rowan cries. Silas turns, grabbing a heavy metal bar from the floor and wedging it through 2 crates to block the room entrance. The tall man rams against the makeshift barrier, shaking it. "Tariq!" Silas yells. "One more hit!" Tariq steps back, then throws himself against the door with everything he has. The rust gives out. The door swings open, cool night air rushing in like a burst of freedom. "Go! Go!" Tariq shouts, waving them out. Silas pushes Rowan through the exit. They spill into a narrow alley behind the warehouse, stumbling but moving fast. Tariq follows, shutting the door behind them to buy seconds. Silas grabs Rowan's wrist. "Run!" They sprint across the alley. Shadows stretch across the ground as security lights flicker overhead. Rowan's legs burn, but she keeps running. She hears shouts behind them, the sound of the room barrier being broken down. Tariq runs beside Silas. "Straight ahead! Cut through the loading dock!" Rowan follows them toward a raised platform. Silas lifts her up, then climbs after her. They dash across the dock, weaving between old pallets and broken boxes. Suddenly, gunshots. Rowan screams. Silas grabs her and ducks behind a steel drum. A bullet ricochets off the metal with a sharp clang. "Keep moving!" Silas shouts. They dash again, reaching the far end of the dock. Tariq points. "Jump!" The drop is higher than Rowan expected. Silas doesn't hesitate. He grabs her hands and lowers her as far as he can before letting her fall into the weeds below. She lands hard but safe. Silas jumps right after. Tariq lands last, rolling to soften the impact. More shouts, more footsteps. "They're splitting up," Tariq warns. "We don't have long." Silas checks Rowan, brushing dirt from her face. "Can you keep going?" She nods, even though her legs shake. Tariq glances toward a distant row of storage units. "There's a service tunnel beneath those. If we reach it, we disappear." Silas nods. "Lead." They run again, past broken fences, past dumpsters, past old concrete pillars. Rowan pushes herself harder, her chest burning. She hears footsteps behind them, closing in. They reach the storage unit row, just as a group of men appear at the corner of the warehouse yard. "There! They're heading east." Tariq curses. "Faster!" Silas grabs Rowan's hand tighter, pulling her toward the last storage unit. But when they reach it, Tariq's face drops. The lock is broken. The tunnel entrance has been tampered with, and footprints lead inside. Rowan whispers, "Dad, someone's already down there waiting. If you were Silas, would you take the risk and go into that dark tunnel, or turn back toward the danger behind you?" Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter. And share your thoughts in the comments to inspire someone else searching for courage. Silas steps in front of the tunnel entrance, blocking Rowan with his arm just as a faint echo rises from the darkness below. A slow shuffle, a breath, something moving inside. Rowan grips his sleeve, eyes stretched wide. Tariq angles his body sideways, preparing for whatever might come out first. Silas whispers, "Stay behind me." His voice is steady, but Rowan feels the tension rolling through him. He's not scared for himself. He's scared for her. A faint beam of light flickers inside the tunnel, someone's flashlight bouncing off the concrete walls. The beam tilts upward like whoever is holding it just realized they aren't alone. Silas clenches his jaw. "Back up. Quiet." But before they can take another step, a voice rises from the tunnel, calm, smooth, familiar. "Well, there you are." Rowan's blood turns cold. It's Luciano Vargo. He steps into view slowly, climbing up the narrow ladder with the confidence of a man who owns the night. His sharp suit is dusted with dirt now, and his gloves are smudged, but he moves like none of it matters. His eyes land on Silas first, locking onto him with a quiet intensity that makes Rowan tremble. "So, this is how you greet an old friend?" Vargo asks as he dusts off his sleeves. Silas positions himself like a shield. "Stay away from her." Vargo raises a brow. "Relax. If I wanted the girl gone, it would have happened hours ago." Tariq steps forward. Vargo cuts him off. "You did your part. I saw you try to stall them, loyal as always." He smirks. "But you should have known I don't rely on one path. I have options everywhere." Silas glares at Tariq. "You led us into a trap?" "No," Tariq says firmly. "I didn't know he'd be here." Vargo chuckles. "Of course he didn't." Tariq thinks with his heart, admirable, but predictable. He shifts his attention back to Silas. "You really made this night interesting, you know that?" Silas doesn't move. "Vargo, let us go. This isn't between her and you." Vargo's eyes flick to Rowan. "Isn't it?" He steps closer, and Silas steps forward so sharply Rowan stumbles back. "You touch my daughter," Silas warns, voice low, "and you'll regret it." Vargo smiles like he's hearing an old memory. "There he is. The man people whispered about. Ghostline." Rowan clutches Silas's shirt from behind. She can feel him shaking, not with fear, but with anger that sits deep enough to hurt. Vargo tilts his head. "You were the smartest man I had. You built systems nobody else could understand. You planned every move. Then one day, you walked away. No warning, no explanation. And you expect me to forget that?" Silas answers sharply. "I left because I refused to raise my daughter in your world." Rowan watches Vargo's smile fade a bit. "You talk like I took something from you." "You did," Silas snaps. "You took everything." The wind kicks dust across the cracked pavement. Rowan swallows hard, trying to keep breathing quietly. Vargo sighs and takes a step closer. Look, I'm not unreasonable. You come back with me tonight, we talk things through. We fix this. But the girl comes too. Silas stiffens. Never? Vargo shrugs. Then we skip the talking, your choice. He snaps his fingers. 3 men appear at the far end of the yard, stepping out from behind an old truck, guns tucked at their sides. Eyes locked on Silas. Rowan freezes. Terry curses under his breath. Silas steps in front of her again. Rowan, don't move. Vargo folds his arms. You know I won't let you walk away again. You made me chase you across the whole city. You made my crew look like fools, and you made your daughter part of this mess when she didn't have to be. Something in Rowan breaks at that sentence. She steps forward, voice shaking. I did it. Silas spins toward her. Rowan, no. She keeps speaking. I sent the files. I sent everything. I copied your notebook. It was me. The whole yard goes silent. Vargo's eyes widen slightly. You? Tariq mutters, Rowan? Why? Silas grabs her shoulders, voice cracking. Why would you say that? Because it's the truth, she whispers. Vargo studies her with new intrigue. The little artist, taking on an empire. He smirks. You have guts, I'll give you that. Silas pulls her behind him again. You're not touching her, ever. Vargo laughs softly. Oh, Silas, you still think you're in control. He nods at his men. 2 of them step forward. Rowan's breath catches. Silas's breathing speeds up. He can't fight them all. He knows it. Rowan knows it. Tariq knows it. And Vargo knows it best of all. Silas, Vargo says, voice calm, I'll offer you one last time. Come with me peacefully. We end this tonight without anyone getting hurt. Silas straightens his back. I'm not yours, not anymore. Vargo sighs. All right then. He raises a hand. One of the men reaches for his weapon. Then sirens explode through the night. Red and blue lights flash across the yard, flooding over fences, buildings, and faces. Vargo's eyes narrow. What did you do? Tariq steps back, shocked. Silas pulls Rowan close. Voice firm. You've done enough. It's over. Police vehicles skid to a stop at the end of the lot, doors flying open. Officers pour out, shouting commands. Vargo lifts his hands slowly, eyes furious. You think they're here for your protection? He says calmly. No, Silas. They're here because someone tipped them off about this whole operation. Rowan trembles. Vargo looks straight at her. You didn't just bring them to me, you brought them to him. As officers swarm the yard, a single gunshot cracks through the air, aimed directly at Silas. What would you do if the person you love most was standing in the path of a bullet? Make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice might inspire someone who feels alone tonight. Silas hears the gunshot and reacts before thought even forms. He shoves Rowan behind a concrete barrier and twists his body toward the sound. The bullet slices past his shoulder, close enough that Rowan hears the snap of air. Officers shout commands. More gunshots fire back. Men scatter across the yard. Rowan screams for her father, her voice cracking as Silas grabs her again and pulls her deeper behind cover. Stay down! Silas yells over the chaos. Rowan crouches, covering her ears as the yard erupts with shouting, footsteps, and metal clattering. Silas peeks over the barrier, watching officers pin down 2 of Vargo's men. Another jumps a fence, only to be tackled by a second wave of officers. Vargo stands in the open, arms lifted, face stiff with shock and anger. The flashing lights paint his face red, then blue, then red again. He watches his entire operation fall apart in seconds. The empire he built cracking right under him. Silas sees him staring at Rowan. That look, cold, studying, calculating, makes Silas snap. He steps out from behind the barrier, shoulders squared. You're done, Vargo. Vargo doesn't flinch. I warned you, he says calmly, even with guns pointed at him. You walked away. She dragged you back. Silas steps closer. She saved me? Vargo smirks. Saved you? She just exposed everything. The deals, the networks, the accounts. You were my best planner, Silas. And your child just tore through my work like a storm. Silas doesn't back down. Because your world was never meant to survive. Officers surround Vargo now. One cuffs him, another reads rights. But Vargo keeps his eyes on Silas. You think this ends with me in a cell? Vargo says quietly. You think you walk away clean? Silas steps even closer. I walk away with my daughter. That's enough. Vargo's smile fades. No, that's exactly what you never get. He leans in. Even if I disappear, someone else always wants what I built. Rowan runs to Silas's side, wrapping her arms around him. Dad, let's go, please. The sight of her, shaking, crying, finally cuts through Silas's anger. He picks her up, hugging her tightly. She buries her face in his neck as he walks away from Vargo. Officers drag Vargo toward the police cars. He turns one last time, watching them. His voice rises over the chaos. Ghost line! This isn't finished! Silas doesn't stop walking. He only holds Rowan tighter. Two officers approach Silas. Sir, we need to ask you a few questions, one says gently. There's a lot going on here. Silas nods. He doesn't resist. He places Rowan gently on her feet and kneels so he's eye level. I'll be right here, he tells her. I'm not going anywhere. Rowan wipes her tears. Promise? He touches her cheek with a shaking thumb. Promise. The officers guide Silas a few steps away, asking about the men, the warehouse, the chase. Rowan watches him answer everything calmly. She stands near the patrol car, hugging herself. An older black officer walks up to her kindly. You okay, sweetheart? Rowan nods, though she's still shaking. The officer kneels. Your dad loves you. Anyone can see that from a mile away. He's doing everything to make sure you're safe. Rowan glances at Silas as he talks to the officers. She sees the weight on him. She sees how tired he is. But she also sees something stronger, relief. After several minutes, an officer brings Rowan a blanket. Another escorts Silas back toward her. The officers speak to each other, looking through papers Rowan recognizes, copies of the drawings and maps she took from his notebook. Sir, one officer says, 2 federal agents would like to speak with you soon. The information you and your daughter provided, it helped take down a large part of Vargo's network. Silas lifts his eyebrows. My daughter? The officer nods. Smart kid, brave kid. Silas turns to Rowan. You knew what you were doing. Rowan looks at the ground. I didn't want them to hurt you. I couldn't let them win. Silas pulls her close, hugging her with both arms. You're the bravest person I know, he whispers. Rowan's voice cracks. I thought I lost you. You won't, Silas says firmly. Not tonight, not ever. They sit together on the back of the ambulance while medics treat Silas's shoulder and check Rowan's breathing. The night air cools around them, calm now, almost quiet except for the fading police radios. A medic hands Rowan a cup of water. You're safe now, she says gently. Rowan leans against Silas's side. Dad, what happens next? Silas takes a deep breath. We start over. For real this time. No more running, no more hiding, just us. Rowan nods slowly. And you won't leave me? Silas shakes his head. You're the reason I stayed alive this long. As dawn begins to break, the sky shifts from black to soft blue. Officers wrap up statements. Vargo is loaded into a secure vehicle, still staring out the window like the night stole everything from him. Tariq approaches silently, hands in his pockets. Silas stands, wary but calm. I didn't know he'd be here, Tariq says, but I'm glad you made it. Silas nods slowly. Thank you for trying. Tariq gives a small, tired smile. Keep her safe. She's special. Rowan steps closer to Silas, holding his hand tighter. Tariq heads toward his car but pauses. Silas, be careful. People like Vargo don't forgive, even from inside a cell. Silas nods but doesn't look scared. He looks determined. He looks free. As the sun rises, Silas lifts Rowan into his arms. Come on, he says softly. Let's go home. Rowan rests her head on his shoulder. We can really start over? Silas kisses her forehead. Yeah, from the beginning. As they walk toward the waiting patrol car, A black envelope sits on the hood, addressed to Silas Hale. What do you think is inside that envelope? And should Silas open it? Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the supporting story coming next. Your thoughts in the comments could inspire someone else's strength.